All right, so for those of you who are new to the goals seminars, welcome. If you've been here, we'll go over a little bit of review. But the purpose of being here is to try to help you figure out, obviously, your goals for 2018. And I say goals lightly because you really only need to walk away with one theme, one word, or one mantra for yourself, okay? We don't want to think about this as New Year's resolutions. You don't want to think about, having to set this big list of things you want to complete. And you also don't want to think about setting what you did for last year. All right? So the purpose of today is to try to get you to think outside your box, work with each other to brainstorm and figure out what it is you need to do this year in order to make it a successful year. And I know a lot of you were here last year, and I'm looking at a lot of people who have actually hit their 2017 goals. If you did, raise your hand. 2017 goal. Did you hit your big one? Okay, good. That's awesome. Very successful, right? Even just one is great. I wanted to share with you a few things that influenced me over 2017 to present today versus last year. And each year is a little bit different for me, with different readings, different people that I come into contact with, and different things that I go through. So the first part was a bunch of books that I read, and you guys might be familiar with it. It starts with food. I know people who were in the last challenge or the Thrive might have read that. Anybody here reading it or have read it? Awesome. What do you guys think?
Makes sense.
Yeah? Pretty good book? Awesome. So it talks about what food does to your body is the way I like to explain that book. It goes into huge detail, but you can skip over a lot of the science if you really don't want to read into it or it's too much for you. I really suggest reading the book, and if you feel like it's going way over your head, skip over those parts because it's really powerful toward the end too. So it just explains exactly what happens when we have processed foods, when we have sugars, when we have proteins, healthy fats, the good things, the bad things, and what exactly those are. They also give you recipes and lists in the back, which is really helpful. A lot of people are looking for these kind of programs, and that book has it all in there, and it explains everything. And I think sometimes when we can understand why we should do something, a light bulb goes off. Even though I can explain it to you 5 million times in 10 different ways, sometimes a different direction that it comes to you at is helpful. So that's a great book for you guys to get into. How bad do you want it? Thank you, Nitin. This book, I feel like I should wear my MyZone strap while I'm reading this book. It's all about how you always have more in the tank. And it's really, really helpful. You don't have to be an elite athlete to read this. They do use a lot of examples about elite athletes in there. And really just to get the point across that some of the most successful people out there you have to fail miserably and become your worst before you can become your best is one of the best ways to explain that. And they do it inside of endurance athletes, so you can just get it from that point of view. And it's exciting, and I said I would wear my MyZone because I'm not an endurance person. Everybody here I think knows I do not want to run any more than a 5K, and the 5K is pushing it. But so to be in the mind and the shoes and the feet of somebody who's doing something like that that's already out of your comfort zone really gets you going and paying attention. But these are Olympians and elite athletes in there. So the stories are really interesting, and you guys can kind of get caught into it. And do you have anything to say about that book? You've been reading it too?
Yeah. The biggest thing is it talks about how your mind is your limiter, not your body. And that if you can push yourself out of your comfort zone, I don't think it has to be the sports-minded necessarily, but if Danielle had this public speaking, not right. Initially, you weren't comfortable doing that, right? Mm-hmm. And so you just throw yourself out there. And in that example, you're the one that knows what you're talking about. The rest of us don't. So that should give you comfort right away, right? So things
But
like that.
That was another key point I didn't get to is that your body can hurt, but that's just your body. Your mind is so much stronger than your body. I wrote that down the other day because as we were working out after I just read the book, I was yelling that all around. But I think that's a great quote. You have pain? Okay, that's just your body. Your mind can go so much further than that. And I would love for you guys to read that if you wanted to, because that will change your experience and how you work out here. I'm telling you, every day you'll think, that's all I got, that's all I got, that's all I got. And you will push past that each time, and you are going to get a better result from that. So that's kind of the most recent exciting book I'm reading. The Magic, the Hero, the Power, the Secret. You guys know Rhonda Byrne collection. The Magic, the Secret. That's the first one. Is everybody here? Have you heard of The Secret? Yep. So everyone here knows about that. The Magic is about gratitude. You know how big I was into that last year. I kept reading it over 2017, and now it's become a subconscious habit to constantly be grateful for everything. And we'll get more into that later. How to live a good life. Thank you. How to live a positive. Is it positive life, Jody? Good Life, all right. I have that on here, but I was going back and forth about that. That's a great book. It's more like The Magic, if you've read that, where there's a beginning to the book, and then after that you just pick a day, one page a day that you can read. And there's 3 different sections based on what part of your life you want to work on. If you don't know which part you want to work on, you can just simply cycle through each page and get through all of them. So my biggest habit that I picked up last year was my green shake. I was reading that book, and every day I was going through, it's like, yep, I do that, yep, I do that. Like, working out and writing things down and being grateful. But then this one stumbled across, and I was like, that would be great if I could get in that habit. And I forced myself to do it for a couple weeks, and I still do it, and I love it. And Jody was in who turned me on to that book, so thank you. One word. Anybody read that? Yes. Does anybody pick their one word for the year? Any word or theme? What do you got, Deb?
I can't tell you.
Okay, we'll share later. You'll want to later, I know, I feel it. I read that book about 2.5 weeks ago, and that was probably the fourth year that I've done it, and my word was not coming to me. Every other year, my word just like, I didn't even want to read the book because I just knew what I wanted my word to be. And this year I read it, and it was like 2.5 weeks. I'm like, okay, when are you going to come? And what I say to you yesterday, Tanya, it hit me in the middle of the night like baby Jesus did to Mary, miraculously. I woke up and I was like,
That didn't happen to me.
I was like, more. So my theme, my word for the year, and my theme is more. And we'll talk about this when we allow you guys to share deeper in the goals workshop. But it's very important for you to have one word or one theme. I think this is huge, because if you have a New Year's resolution, 96% of people who pick New Year's resolutions fail by January 31st. 96% of people. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. So you don't want to commit yourself to something that's going to be too great. But if you pick a theme or a word, you can constantly go back to it. It's not telling you have to do a certain amount of anything. It's not telling you to do anything. It's just giving you a way to live your year. And it's been very great for me so far. I've had give was one of my words. Gratitude, which is now my life word. More is this year. Believe was the year before. So you guys, a lot of you here have picked words, right? Did you pick a word ever? Yeah. What's that?
Yeah, it was.
It worked really well.
It did.
It did, actually. You picked one?
Simplify.
Okay.
Yeah, I picked it on my birthday though.
That's, yeah, you can, and that's the thing about this is like, say you get halfway through the year, number one, maybe you didn't pick a word, you can always just pick up the book and read it or do that. If the word's not working for you and you haven't paid attention, it's not bringing you energy a little bit in, you can always redo it. So that's a good point, is it doesn't have to be a certain day. Most people end up doing things in January, so we bring it up then.
Mine was held next year.
Yes, it did. Workshop, because we are going to talk about that theme a lot. Obviously, gratitude can bring you happiness, and it's going to change your life. But if you don't take the time to be grateful for what you have and grateful for what you want in the future, you're not going to get it. And remember, which we'll get into again, is whatever you put out in the universe is what you're going to get, good or bad. So if all you're putting is complaints out there, and this is how you start your year, the rest of your year is going to crumble and be like that. So it's better off to start in the gratitude section of life. Be happy for what you have, or even what you want. You know, just visualize it and be grateful that you made X amount of money by the end of the year. Keep telling yourself that, and you're going to get that much closer to it. Annual roadmap. We discussed this last workshop. If you weren't here, we'll go into this again. So I've been doing this for, I think, 4 years now. This is my little binder that I have. My big 5 for the years right here in the front. And then inside, you laminate all your answers to all your questions. This year, I gave you guys an extended annual roadmap. You do not have to fill it all out here, but it's very, very helpful. And we discussed this last year about how overwhelming it can be to actually write down your goals and write out stuff. I love doing this type of thing. I've spent 3.5 hours on my goals already for 2018. I've only answered 17 questions. So if you really take the time to dig deep, this will change you. If you take the time to think, like seriously about what your answers are going to be to those questions, it will change you. And I suggest, again, you guys have the whole packet right there with you. There's about 45 questions in there. You don't have to do them today, obviously. I really highly recommend that you continue to spend time, no matter how long it takes you, to get through them, answer them, and do them. There's a lot of fun ones. We are going to flip through today and give you a few minutes to answer some of those. Get your questions out if you have any on it. But I think that's a powerful thing for you to do. And the first year I ever did my annual roadmap, I thought I was going to cry, because it was about 150 questions, and I didn't even know what I wanted in life. So I just put that away, did about 2 of them, my name on the top, and my reward if I hit a goal. And I didn't even write the goal. So then the second year came and I answered half of it in the third year, and you just keep getting better and better at it. So if you haven't started an annual roadmap yet, start this year. Even if you answer 5 questions, try to make it a routine to do this every single year. And we will offer workshops throughout the year too. So Deb, good job keeping your stuff. I bet Boom probably kept hers somewhere. But if you kept your stuff from 2017, you have a way to review it, okay? Now when you fill this stuff out for all your questions that I printed out for you guys, I wrote on top of it, take care of these answers, laminate, post, carry some with you. Be sure to reread often. This is exactly in my spot, right in front of me every single day when I get back from here home to my workspace, and I can look at this every day. I can see what my big 5 are for the year, or I can just open up to a random page and read something about what I wrote about. And that's a really powerful thing to do as well. So if there's one spot you go to every day in your house, put this there. It's only take 2 seconds to open it and look at what it is, okay? That would be a good idea. And then, like I just said, keep them viewable. The last 2 things are purging. That was a huge lesson for me in 2017. Everyone kind of like spring cleans their walls. Purging is a whole different ball game. Getting rid of what you don't need in life anymore. You don't have to throw it out. You can donate it or whatever, but get rid of that junk because it's holding you down. So you're doing a great thing by coming here today, but if you leave here and you live in clutter and you live in chaos and you live in a mess right now, you're going back to that. So it's going to be very hard for you to follow anything you write down in here, or anything you brainstorm today, or anything you create if you have a lot of clutter in your life. So that's a big lesson. Not that you have to go home and freak out about it, but maybe that's one of your goals for 2018. And then clear that up, and your brain is going to operate a lot better. Your brain likes to compartmentalize things. So when you look at a mess, like your kitchen table, right? This drives me nuts. You know why it drives you nuts when your kitchen table is crazy? Because your brain wants to put everything somewhere, okay? So you see it, and you either choose to walk away from it and you get aggravated or pissed off like me, sorry, or you clean it and you feel so much better and you can think. When you can take a deep breath in when you walk in through your house, that's the first thing that you see. If your counters are a mess, you don't like to prep food. So maybe you always have this excuse, oh, I don't have time to prep. Maybe you have the time to prep, or you can take the time to prep. You can't stand the thought of looking at your counters or your fridge. So maybe those are your first 2 steps that you need to take. All right? That declutter. And declutter your inner circle with people as well, your social circle. So get rid of the negative. That was a huge movement for me in 2017, and I think it naturally happened inside Fit It In as well. I mean, we've gained a ton of positive people, and anybody who didn't feel 100% comfortable or like this was their thing, they removed. And we have, I think, a great circle of energy going on right now. I don't know if you guys agree, but I just feel like every time you turn around, there's always someone that you're enjoying to be around right now. And a lot of that was because for over the past couple years, I've taken really serious steps of eliminating the negativity out of my life. And the way you do that is look at your top 5 people in your life that you spend most time with. Doesn't have to be a choice. It could be at work. It could be at home. It could be an activity you do every day. Maybe you're a teacher, you know, you peep someone you see in your circle there. Anything. If it's negative to you and it's bringing you down and they're not boosting you up to be a better person, you got to get rid of it. And sometimes that's really hard because for some of us it could be a tainted relationship with our parent. Sometimes it could be your boss. You know, how do you do that and what's going to be your plan? But thinking about that and brainstorming is really important. And I know from experience it took me 2 years to get rid of some of that stuff because I was so scared to cut the ties. But your energy for life and the way that you live is going to change dramatically if you can do that. Okay, so we'll go over that later. And the last thing that we are going to end with today is trade good for great. And I'll touch upon that at the end. Okay, so just think about that. All right, the theme of the workshop this year is, can anyone figure it out? Has anyone figured it out? Look at your packets.
Your best year yet.
Yes, good job. Throughout today, you guys can feel free to participate as often as you want. The more you put in, the more you're going to get, right? The more you give, the more you get. Let's just remember that theme for today as well. If you want to get some answers for your life, give a little bit, and you might be surprised that someone you might not even know says something today that hits you and allows you to kind of figure out what you want to do for 2018. So give to get. You do not have to participate if you don't feel comfortable, but please do if you want to. I want to make this interactive, so let's try to have fun with it and not have to listen to me the whole time and be bored. And you'll walk away with hopefully at least your BHAG for 2018, which is your big, hairy, audacious goal, the one thing you want to complete by December 31st, 2018. Okay? All right, let's see. We're going to do a little 2-minute drill now. So the notebook that you have on the table. What were your best practices in 2017? What were your worst practices in 2017? And your best and worst practices are things that you were doing when you felt your best, when you were living your best, when you were having the most success, when you were the happiest. What were your best practices of 2017? Things that derailed you. Things you know if you start in January of 2018 are not going to help you. The times you felt your worst, what were you doing? And that can be socially, physically, mentally. What is burning inside of you? Simple question, but you can go deep with that. Just start writing. Put that pen down. It's okay to run out of ink. We'll get you another pen, Deb. What is burning inside of you? Is there something that you are dying to accomplish? Something you're dying to see, to read, somewhere to go? What do you wish you had done in 2017? Is there anything you wish you accomplished? What sticks out to you the most? Different areas of your life. So we've got relationships, financial, career, health. Get your minds ready? Okay. Now we're going to jump into gratitude. I told you I promised we would talk about that a little bit today. I just don't think you can do anything in your life without being grateful. Agreed? All right. So, what is gratitude? Anybody know what gratitude means to them? Yes, share with us. Yep. That's a great answer. Is that what you do regularly? Be nice to people? I like that. Anybody else? Come on, she's on the right track. Yep. That's a good word. So it's showing your thankfulness, your appreciation toward other things. Showing, getting it out there, thinking of it, listing it. Do something about your thankfulness. And it's, why is it important? I went over this a little bit when we first started. Somebody tell me why you think it's important. No one? Yes.
The more grateful you are and the more grateful you put out, the more you get back.
So good. So good. What else? There's other reasons. Why do you think it's important? Somebody else, were you talking?
Makes you feel good.
Yeah, definitely changes your mood, right? It'll definitely change your mood. It will make you happy. It'll bring you happiness to be grateful. So those are the top 3 things: success, mood, happiness. And the last things I'll say about gratitude is to be thankful for what you want. So does anybody have a routine with gratitude right now? What do? Do you want to share? You don't have to.
Sure. I journal every night. I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for.
It's awesome. Very good. How about you, Chrissy?
I try to, with my kids, do like a little prayer at night.
Yeah.
Just be like thankful for the day and that type of thing.
Awesome. Great. Now, my question to you guys, since you do it at the end of the day, since you're in a habit, does it reflect to the next day? Like, do you feel great in the morning because you did that at night? Good. Good. Because I was just wondering. It's just a question. I do the opposite. So my ride in here is my gratitude time. I don't turn on the radio. I don't do anything. I just drive in and I list 10 things I'm grateful for that morning. They can be simple. It can be the fact that my car's like I can start my car. It could be, most times I'm very grateful for the people who are going to show up to the workouts. I'm very grateful for the sunshine we're going to have that day, whatever it is. List 10 things and I set my intention for the day. So your intention is how you expect yourself to move through the day, right? So there might be one thing that's really driving you that day. I want to be the best coach I've ever been that day. That's going to be my one goal, right? And this helps me focus and feel really good when I walk in here, obviously, but also as halfway through the day, I can reflect back onto what I said and get myself recommitted no matter how many different directions I go in. And you can get very overwhelmed if you go in 50 million directions with life. So if you have one focus for that day, just like I'm trying to come up with a theme or a word for my year, my one focus for that day I can go back to. So that might be a way for you guys to do it. I don't necessarily write it every day. It's hard for me to get into that habit of taking the time to write it, but I have subconsciously gotten into that habit that every time I get into my car or someone else's car, my brain automatically starts to list things that I'm grateful for, which is kind of a cool feeling. So that might be good for you. Journaling works for a lot of people. They actually like to take the time at the end of the day to do that. If you do it in the morning, maybe that's going to help you through your day. Maybe it'll help you reflect on what you actually have at the end of the day if you do it in the evening and be a little bit more grateful, maybe not in such a bad mood, right? All right.
Do you ever find throughout the day that you are grateful for things throughout the day and tell yourself that too?
Yes. It's just like a huge snowball now, right? I mean, it was something I had to remind myself to do every day, read the book, The Magic. And then I had to remind myself every day to do the gratitudes. And then I had to pick a time that was routine for me that doesn't change. So that morning time really worked for me. I was just wasted radio anyway, right? And now it's just all day. I constantly am thinking of it. And it has changed. It does change your mood. It just does change your happiness. It does change how you are, how you react to people, how you perceive what people say when you're more grateful. And I've noticed a lot more things coming toward me because I'm grateful that I wouldn't have expected. Like sometimes I'm like, whoa, I can't believe that just happened. How, why? Why am I so lucky that happened? And then you go back and you're like, because I've been grateful every day. This is awesome. So it's something that you definitely snowball into and you don't want to stop doing. Who's read the book The Magic in here? Okay. Did you get to the check part? You write out yourself a check for the amount that you want to make? You did?
The dollar bill one, not a check.
Okay. Anybody do the check? Did you do the check?
Not to the check part, but I didn't do it.
Did anybody? That happened to me. I wrote out the check and I got the money. It was really cool. It wasn't $5. I kept that check. No, it happened in 2017. Although that was on the cusp. You're right. It was before that. I almost didn't make one of my big 5 for the year. No. And what else was I going to say about that? I kept it on my wallet the whole time. So every day I would just open it up and look at it, open it up, look at it, open it up, look at it. And I actually got it on a day that I didn't open it up and look at it. Daily gratitudes, and write down 5 things. This is what I want you to do right now. Take your notebook and write down 5 things that you are grateful for today. 5 things, 5 people, whatever it is. Let's just write down 5 things now. You know, but start with little things. Like the fact that you're here is a great thing to be grateful for. This is really going to help you, whether you realize it or not. I'm going to be in your mind subconsciously for all of 2018. And I like that. All right, so we're going to move on to goals. For those who have been here before, it's a little bit of a review, but you can never hear it too many times. Sometimes something comes out and bites you when we hear it 10 times, right? What is a goal? Someone tell me. Oh man, you're not passing the quiz. Something to strive for. Yep. Yes. That is such a good definition. I love it. She's good, people. I don't know where you were, but you're lucky she's here today. Tell us your name. That's a beautiful name. All right, it's a desired result or outcome. That is the only thing we're missing that is time-bound. That's the most important thing about a goal. It's time-bound, okay? Result and time-bound. So we can't just write down that we want to lose weight this year, right? Because then you really don't care. You're like, oh, I have 11 more months to do that. I'll worry about that later. When March comes, you got swimsuit season come, and you're like, now the time. But you have to have a date on the calendar set, right? This is true for everything. I had a goal back in the day when we were over at National Athletic Club to do semi-private training instead of one-on-one training. In order to get myself there, it was one of the scariest things I ever did because I didn't know if people would be okay with it, but I had to do it. And I had a mentor at the time that was like, if you don't circle a date, you're not going to do it. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So I come all the way back from California. I'm here, and I'm like, all right, when am I going to do this? No, I'm not going to do it. Waited another month. I'm like, all right, when am I going to do this? I know I have to do this. And I waited like 3 months before I even announced to them that I was going to do it. And I finally had to just circle a date on the calendar. I circled it. I showed up to work that day shaking, and I'm like, oh God, I have to tell them today. And I had no way out. It was a big change for me. That was a really scary thing. Looking back, it was one of the best things we did. I think you might even enjoy your sessions a little bit more now. Maybe from time to time. We really like the one-on-ones. I do too. I like to implement those a little bit more too. But it was one of the things that I had to do, one of the more scary things. And I would not have done it had I not circled the date. So time-bound is really important. S, this is a little, what do you call this? No.
We're teachers, we have SMART goals.
I wanted to know what it's called when you have the letters that make a word. Thank you. Ooh. All right.
I know it.
I didn't get it, thank you.
So what does the S stand for? Let's see if I can do it without looking.
Specific?
Good job. Specific. Yep. You can measure it. So specific. Give me a specific goal. No.
Lose 3% body fat.
Thank you. But thanks for both of them.
Yeah, sure.
Measurable. Can you measure that? At the end of 2018, can you go back and say yes or no to that?
Yes.
Okay, so you should always be able to say yes or no to your goal. That's the way that you stick to measuring it, right? A.
Attainable.
Thank you. Is it possible for you to lose 3% body fat in 2018?
Yes. No.
What if someone said to me they wanted to lose...
She doesn't think that's funny.
Is it possible for someone to lose 50 pounds by the end of the year? Or attainable? Is it attainable? Real? Okay. Thank you. We'll get into that later, right? What's the R?
Give us
Yes, realistic. Thank you. Must have been that Mozart we were playing.
I think it was.
Got the grooves flowing. Realistic. Is it realistic to lose 50 pounds? That should have been my question, not attainable. Yeah, it's attainable. Might not be the healthiest thing you do, it's attainable. So you do want to ask yourself that question, is it even a possibility? And once you answer that question, you need to ask, is it realistic? Realistic means, will you do it? Realistically, will you stick to that goal all year long? So when we get to listing your big 5 for the year or your big, hairy, audacious goal for the year, it might excite you today, but realistically in June or July, will you still be motivated by it? If you don't hit it by July, is it still realistic that you're going to hit that goal? So get deep with that word. That's probably the most important word on this one. T, come on.
Time.
Thank you. Time bound. Yeah, I already gave that one away. That should have been one that everybody answered aloud. Time bound. So you have to, by when do you want to do this? And if you're setting your big, hairy, audacious goal for 2018, then you might say December 31st, 2018. That's time bound. If you want to have a big 5, which we're going to go over, so you have 5 big goals for the year, each one should be time bound. One could be for January, one could be for June, one could be for July. They could all be for December, but you need to write a date next to each one of those that you expect to hit it by, okay? If you're doing a daily goal, you need to have a time that you want to do it by. Don't just say, yeah, I'm going to go grocery shopping today. When are you going to go grocery shopping? If you can't take the 2 seconds to think right then about when you're going grocery shopping, guess what? It ain't going to happen. And it's just a nice wish, right? Same thing for these things on a bigger level. If you don't actually stop for 5 minutes to think about when you want to achieve that goal, it's not going to happen. It's just going to be a wish. Wishes and dreams are just goals without times, without time stamps. Okay? Dream big, but eventually label it. Good? Yep. All right. So, why do we need to set goals?
Motivation.
That's a good one.
Direction.
Mm-hmm. Focus. Yep, I like those. Motivation, direction, focus, accountability.
And on track.
Yep.
Purpose.
Yes. Anybody else? Success. You need to change. Why do you not set or achieve your goals? Anybody, from your own personal experience, why do you not set goals? Maybe, why is this your first time here? Why are you here? Yep, your fear. Fear of failure. Okay.
Fear of success.
Yep. Definitely. Yes, it's true. And that's part about being time bound. So a lot of times we don't set the goal because we can't circle that date on the calendar. Sometimes we don't write our big five. I'm going to go over what big five is, but I write a big five for the week, right? And sometimes you don't make that out because you don't know when you're going to do things. I think that's one of the biggest reasons. Yeah, there's a fear of failure and a fear of success, but those might be more subconscious than actual conscious when you're writing out goals. Because you don't know when you're going to do stuff stops you from doing it. Or the fear that you won't end up doing it. It's change. I know Sharon does not like change. She hates when I move things in the gym. She hates when I paint things different colors. When the sounds are different, it's just not fun. For a lot of people, change is scary. You know, it's just, I think it's just built in your personality. You're just a creature of habit. That's the way you want it to be. But change is healthy, you know, and when you can start allowing yourself to change and keep setting these goals, you're going to get better at it and better at it and better at it, and you're going to be okay with change. Now I can paint a wall, and here she goes again. But you're okay with it, right? So the more often you guys do these things, you're going to get rid of some of these fears. So I applaud you guys being here today, because that is going to change it, and you'll be okay with change over time. Last one, it's the big one. Most obvious, probably. Commitment. That's a very good one too. Actually, I didn't even have that one. That was a good one. Committing yourself to doing it. You don't know how. A lot of people don't know how, and I think that's a big reason why you guys joined me today. You don't even know where to begin. You need help sorting through it, right? Like I talked about the first year with my annual roadmap. I basically cried, closed the binder, and didn't set any goals for that year. That was a pathetic year. I don't think much happened, you know? I just woke up and lived every day, lived every day, lived every day. It wasn't a very happy year. But now I know how. And some of that is because I've listened to people talk to me about it like I'm talking to you right now. And when you have someone who has a passion about it, it's going to help you break things down. And you're going to be able to use all of each other to help break it down a little bit more. And I think that was helpful. And maybe that's why some of you guys are here for a second time or a third time, because you like the interactive and being able to share with people and get their ideas and know that people are going through the same struggles as you. So you don't know how, you don't know what to do with it. All right. Why is it important to set goals? Purpose, yep. Some of these are repetitive, but I have a couple of things to talk about with it. Anybody else? Why do you think it's important to set a goal? Why do you even think it's important to take the time out of your day to be here today? Because I yelled. Aside from that answer.
Well, we all want to be a little bit better.
Yep. Yep. So my first thing that I wrote was, living day to day is not proactive and will not create what you want or need. If you do not set goals, you're just living every day, right? You're just waking up, hoping to make it by for the rest of the day. Breathe, subconsciously, breathe. We just do that involuntarily. So you don't even have to do that. Too much negativity, excuses, and unhappiness. So you must be proactive and act first. That's why it's important. There's too much negative out there, right? If you wake up without a goal, without any sort of drive in life, you're going to stub your toe on your little side table there. The alarm probably didn't go off. You're going to spill your coffee on yourself on the way out the door. You're going to get pulled over on the way to work, and then you're going to have that awful meeting with your boss when you get there, which sets the tone for your day. If you go into your day with your gratitudes ready, you go into your day with your theme for 2018, your goals in your mind, nothing's going to get in your way. It's just going to be a little hurdle that you have to hop over. And there's going to be people out there that are negative, and you're just like, whatever, I don't care. You know, that will happen. You will see that change if you be proactive. So that's another reason. There's too many negative people out there and too many excuses to not do it. One, it's right up here.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know what you can do until you try. There, you don't know what you can do until you try. So if you don't try to set a goal, you don't know if you can achieve anything, right, Deb? I think she's one of the biggest people here that can say that. Everybody here should be able to say that. You know, you don't know what you can do until you try. You really don't. And you surprise yourself. So when you start dreaming, you start writing things out and brainstorming, go through this little list right here. Is it attainable? If it's possible, there's hardly anything in this world that's impossible, right? Everything is possible if we really put our minds to it and we want it, we'll find a way. So, if you're finding something that's really big and really scary that you're writing down, it's possible. But you don't know until you start living that way, all right? That's one of my biggest reasons why you should set goals. Does everybody agree with that one? So what are the three? You're living day to day. That's one reason it's important to set goals, because you don't want to live day to day anymore. Too much negativity and excuses. You don't know what you can do until you try. We agree on those? Yes. All right, so here's how to get over your fear of failure. Does anybody have any ideas of how to get over your fear of failure? Gina, you brought it up. Let's see if she can come up with one. Come on, you can do it. So, if you have a fear of failure, how do you think you can combat that?
What I do is I just face it.
Just do it, like Nike says. Just do it. I agree, you do have that personality. You just get up and go. There is nothing that gets in your way. There is a G-Fly road, and that's it. That train is coming through. You know, but there might be others of us in here that are not like that. I can find myself derailed pretty quick. You know, something can get in my way and I'd be like, okay, I'll do that tomorrow. Like that goal to do the semi-privates. I had to circle that date on the calendar in order to get myself to go there. Gina would have came in January 1st. This is what we're doing? If you don't like it, get out. Right? But that's the difference between us. So there's got to be some other ways to fix it. So yes, just go right after it. Just do it like Nike says. Anybody else? You were going to say something.
Maybe not to be afraid to ask for support.
Yep.
Because sometimes, like, if you keep it in your own, you know, realm of being, but if you put it out there, it not only makes it real, but then it makes it so you have
Do you hear that? There's the yin to your yang right there. Definitely.
and I'm not a big, like, come join me, you know, like that type of person anyways. I'm usually a door kicker downer by myself, but if it takes two people to kick down the door,
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid of that. Nothing here inside these walls happened without help from other people. Nothing. And that's a daily thing. People have to walk through the doors in order for this to happen. My life is metaphor to that. So you guys definitely should think like that. That's a great one. I didn't even write that one down. But the two ways that I physically have you guys being able to get over your fear of failure is to set small attainable goals. Attainable. Small ones. Because when you have small victories, that gets you excited to keep going, excited to keep going, excited to keep going. If your goal for 2018 is to lose 5% body fat, and by the first quarter of the year you've lost 1.5%, you're like, man, I can do this. I'm going to go ahead, right? And then you see halfway mark. If you're still at the same spot, well, now you challenge yourself, and there might be even a bigger fire lit to keep going for the rest of the year because you haven't made much progress in those 2 months. So small attainable goals, and those can change. So if half the year comes and you've already hit your goal, you got to reset it, right? We still got to make it attainable. You still got to challenge yourself. And then start from the big picture and work your way back to today. Start from the big picture and work your way back from today. Can you guys see that in your mind? Is that how you set goals? So let's see. Someone throw out a goal for a year. Does anybody have their goal for the year in their head, or just a random one you want to throw out and use?
I want to work out 3 times a week.
Okay. 3 times a week. So what happens if you have 1 week where you don't work out 3 times? That's going to be my first question to you. See. So what I would say is start from the big picture and work your way back. All right? So this is a good example. You guys got to work with the big picture. What does that mean? So let's do the math, right? 3 times, you're good at math. Who's good at math here? Gina. 3 days a week for 52 weeks. What? 150-ish. 156. But who's doing math? 156. So that might be a better goal for you. More realistic, right? Because what happens if week 2 of February comes and you miss it? You feel so defeated, right? But maybe not the first week, because you say to yourself, oh, I'm not going to quit just because I missed 1 week. I'm going to keep going. Well, guess what? August comes, and now you've missed 4 weeks for stuff you can't even explain. You got sick. You know, you had to take care of your kids. You went on a vacation, and that was it. You know, you're allowed to have things that happen in your life. But 156 is a much more doable big picture, right? Now, by the middle of the year, which is about there, if you haven't hit that number, you still have 6 more months to go. So what you'd say is 156 days, and then break it down from there. And go, okay, how many do I need by 6-month mark? Divide it by 2. And then figure out what your 6-month mark is. Is that realistic, right? And you do the math, okay. Then what do I need to do in the next 3 months? You have no way out. So now, what's the number?
78.
Here is 73? Okay, what's divided by 2 from there? 39, let's just say, okay, we'll throw it out here. So 39, now what you need to do is look into the next 3 months. 90 minus 39, is there something going on in there that doesn't allow you to get 39 workouts? Is that realistic to you? That's realistic. I think 39 out of 90 days, we better be getting those things in there. But did you see that? 156, where she was gonna start at the bottom, which is what all of us do. We start this small goal, 3 times a week. That's not that big, I can do that. Anybody can do that small goal. Yeah, you miss 1 week and you're totally deflated and you're not gonna go after that goal for the rest of the year. So keep it a big goal and work your way down. 100 clients by the end of the year, that's what I'd love to do. Well, that's what I'd said for the last 2 years. So, 100 clients, what do I have to do in the next 6 months? How many do I need? If I don't hit that 6-month mark, that's an oh shit moment for the last 6 months, right? But what do I need to do the next 3 months? What does that mean per month I need to do? Is that realistic for me? How am I gonna get there? So obviously it wasn't realistic before, and that was not good. But you break it down, come backwards. That's my biggest advice about setting goals, okay? Start at a big picture, break it down into smaller pieces, and ask yourself if each one of those pieces is realistic. Everybody got that? And then the other part was to set small attainable goals. So once you have the goal, we have to have an action plan, which we'll get into. But that action plan needs to have, that's where that snowball effect of small successes comes, right? So we have a big goal, we break it down into something that we figure out is smart. And once you're there, you got to make the plan. So now you start making these small goals. So it's almost the reverse. That was 3 times a week. That was a goal for her. That was her big goal. Now it can be one of your small attainable things. I want to try to go 3 times a week. Can I do that? Maybe you give yourself a reach goal of 4. Now if you do 3, you feel successful because you know you can do it. Or maybe your reach goal is 3. If you make it 2, you're happy there. Okay? So small attainable goals and make a big goal into a small one. Everybody got that? That makes sense now? Yes. All right, good. That makes me happy that we got that. We get over our fear of success and change. This is the opposite. The fear of failure, we break it down. Make it realistic, make it smart. What do we do for success and change? Is anybody here afraid of success, they think, with goals that they set? Like, oh man, if I hit that, then what am I gonna do? If I get 100 clients here, are we gonna fit in here? I can't get that goal. We'll see when it gets here. Right? So sometimes you might be surprised, but you're more fearful of it working. Getting your Reiki master. What if that was something that you didn't want to do? You're going to be successful. Oh my God, what do I do with my job now? Like, what if I love it so much that I don't want to do what I'm doing? Maybe you wouldn't be doing it, right?
Maybe you might be in trouble.
Yep. Anybody have an example of something that maybe they'd be fear of the success?
So I obviously want to be an administrator.
Mm-hmm.
But there is that fear of leaving what I really, really, really love, which is teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
You should be afraid of that. Yeah. And I know I'm good at teaching to an extent, but
Yep.
I don't know what I'm going to do in this new position.
Right. That's fear of success. And what do you think is in between that because then my question back to you would be, what if you're not good at it?
Well, I know, and I mean, I think I know that I could go back to teaching, which is always like something that I could do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to not be good at it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What happens when you're not good at it?
But you know what? Because you pushed yourself to do it and get there, you're not going to say that if you're not good at it. Because the only reason you're not going to be good at it is because you don't like it. If you've gone this far to get your master's, be certified, do those hours that it takes, and you're still okay with it right now, if you get in that position and you're not good at it, you just don't want to be good at it.
Yeah.
Whether you recognize that or not. You got to listen to your body, you got to listen to your gut. most times when we're not good at things or we don't like things, even when it comes down to food, our body doesn't need it. We don't want it. You know, it's just up here that we just think we got to keep pushing ourselves because that's success. You know, people up here say, if I'm an administrator, I get more respect. I'm successful if I'm there. You might not like it. You might be happier with your same schedule you have now and your classroom and everything. Don't worry, I'm not saying that's going to happen. Or you might be like, yes, I'm so glad I finally made it. I can't believe it took me this long to push myself to do this.
Well, I am, but then it's now taking the next step to actually do that next piece, which is scary because you do something 20 years.
Yep.
And then you can, it's literally a different job,
Right.
you know? and
Right.
Expectations are different and, you know.
Why are you doing it?
I know, why am I doing it? I mean, I know I'm doing it because I'm gonna, I can't see myself teaching forever, so.
But you love teaching. That's
I know.
My first question is, why are you going away from something you love?
I know.
Usually you run towards something you love. I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah.
No, I know.
It's one of those questions in there. Are you running to or from something?
Yeah.
I know for me, I would always, I'd love to own my own consulting business, so I do it on the side now.
Yeah.
My biggest fear is the comfort. You know, I have that stability of a consistent income, health insurance, all of that.
Right.
And to get away from that's very scary.
Yeah.
So I always have people say, you're so good at this and you love doing it, what's keeping you from doing it? That's where I'm at.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
But I'm running away from something I'm not very excited about. I have the stability, but I love what I do, but I love this thing over here.
Yeah.
But you could also be not running to or from something. You could be sitting right there in that puddle.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are doing that. And that's why we're here at our goals seminar. We're just doing the same thing over and over. We're good. You know, we can pay our bills.
Going through the motions.
Going through the motions. No excitement. There's no passion. You don't know what you can do until you try. You know, yeah, you can pay your bills. Yeah, you can go on vacations. Yeah, you paid for your kids' schooling. A lot of people are coming to mind right now and I'm having a little visuals here. But imagine what you could be doing. You know what I mean? What if you could double that if you actually set a goal? What if you could double that? What if you could help out other people, other kids that can't do that stuff on top of helping your kids, you know? What if you end up going on a vacation you never even dreamed of in your wildest dreams because you set a goal to set yourself to do that rather than just going on the planned trips you know you can do with the money you have? You know, what if retirement wasn't just enough to pay your bills anymore and you had a nice house in the warm weather? It was 2 houses somewhere or a house with a boat. You don't know. So you got to always be pushing to do more. Okay? That was good. That was good interaction. Thank you, people. Anybody else want to say something there?
I'm kind of in the same boat she is. I've had my CAGs and administration for a long time, and I'm afraid to. I know I could be an administrator, but leadership roles, I've been in many leadership roles, so I know I can do it. It's just that, am I going to have the time? Am I going to be able to put in 110%? Is it going to take away from my own kids? So fear of doing something, because I do love
Fear of change.
But I
Sounds like to me it's fear of change.
maybe, yeah.
Not the success part, but you're mentioning what happens if your family has to be disrupted, the schedule gets disrupted, or...
And if I make a commitment to something, I have to put 110% in, so I don't want to have to be pulled out of doing something, you know, because of my kids. And that's why, like, I got out of the military, because I put 110% in, and as soon as I had my kids, it was like, my kids were a priority.
Yep.
So I stopped putting the 110% in, so I'd go to drill, and I'd be like, I have no clue what's going on right now, because I haven't been doing what I should be doing during the week, so I got out. 'Cause I'm like, I'm not doing what I need to be doing.
Yep.
So that's what I'm afraid to go to a job that needs me more, like more.
You know what to do? Make the big goal, start breaking it down, and see what those steps need to be. Is that realistic? Is that attainable? Can you do that with your family? If your family is that important to you, they need to be in your equation. So when you start to break it down, right? If you end up being an administrator, you got to write, what does that mean? What does that take for time? What does that mean to my family? What's going to have to change? You have to write out those things. When you find out what's going to have to change, can I do that? Is this possible?
Yeah, I know, I don't want to take away from my kids, because they're a priority, so.
Right. And it doesn't mean it's possible or impossible. You're right. What are you willing to do?
Right.
What are you willing to change? And if you're not willing to change, then that's not realistic. So that's what this brainstorming is for, to really write down. So if you have a moment while we're talking, it's not rude. You guys can start writing down what Chrissy just said. If she needs to go with that for the next 5 or 10 minutes and just write down what will change, you know, am I willing to deal with that? You guys can go off and do that too, okay? This is time for those moments. All right, so be ready and willing to accept the outcome is what I said about getting over your fear of success. Be ready for the outcome. Be willing to accept what the outcome is going to be, no matter what that means. 100 clients, I have to accept. The space either works or I need a new one. We got to find ways to make it doable here. Am I willing to accept that problem when it comes? Yeah, that's a good problem to have. I think I'll accept that one, right? So I think the goal is worth it. Anybody else have an idea? Rick's got a big goal. Nope. Nope. Are you willing to accept that outcome? I think so, right? And prepare others around you for your changes. That's big, Chrissy, because maybe in your mind, those changes to your family are so big because you feel like you're doing so much for your family right now. But if you talk to them about it, they might tell you, no, like, we're going to be fine. We're going to be cool. We can brainstorm a way to make this work. So it's important to prepare the people around you as well. It's important to talk to people, G-Fly. We got to let them know what's going on in our mind, okay? We got to open her up. We got to give her some more yang today. Right? Don't you think that's a good point? That's going to help you get over your fear of change, for sure. Communication is key. All right. How to set and achieve your goals. What did we do to begin today? How do you guys think you could set and achieve your goals? We're talking literally doing it now, okay? We're getting into now we're not brainstorming anymore. We're actually doing it. What do you need to do? What did we do? What was the first activity today?
Clear your mind.
Yep. Get your mind ready. Let the energy flow in and out. If you're a spiritual person, pray about it. Take 5 minutes. You know, the next time you go to church, if that's you, think about this when you're there. Spend some time on it. If you're not like that, maybe meditation, just like we did, 5 minutes of breathing and really focusing on what it is you want, right? Let your mind open up to things. Do you guys even, does anybody here meditate regularly? Like seriously? Not just Thursdays here? You do? So, do you find that silence is really important? Like taking time alone and being silent for a little bit is really, really important. Like to the point where I don't think even the fact that I have this on my schedule every Thursday, people realize how important it is. There are people who have transformed from hating meditation, hating all that stuff, to like, can we just do this for an hour? And those people really get to another level. They realize that taking that silent time and really breathing and not just sleeping, but really meditating. And does anybody really know what meditating is? Share with us.
It's a lot of things. I think just for me, it's just clearing my mind. Like I do it on my way to work to like gear up for the day. I don't listen to the radio anymore, and then on the way home to just kind of decompress.
Mm-hmm. But there's also meditating, like I'm talking about too, where you're trying to bring the energy in to help you figure something out. So meditating is really being by yourself to allow what you need to come to you, however that needs to be. You know, sometimes I play a certain type of music here. Sometimes I play an audio of someone giving you a lesson that day.
Just being present.
Just being present in the moment and noticing stuff, you know. And we've done a few meditations recently like that, like be present. If you hear the people next door playing headbanging music, listen to it, notice it. That's okay, because we take for granted and we go around all day long and don't notice anything around us. We're just on this one track and ain't nothing getting in our way. So you don't notice. You know, sometimes you don't even notice the temperature. Like I admit, sometimes I get in my car and I'm like, I don't even feel cold. I just drive all the way here. I'm not even noticing what's happening the first few seconds of my day. What's that setting you up for, right? So meditating is really just taking the time to be present. That was a good thing. And for you, if that's music, that's music. For you, if that's prayer, that's prayer. For you, if that's putting the headphones on and going crazy in the morning, getting ready, that's what it is. Okay?
I think this one piece missing, without judgment.
Yes.
Take it in without judgment. It's not right, it's not wrong, it's just there.
Yes. She's so right. Boom and I just listened to that the other day from...
I was going to say.
That was actually Thursday, that was our meditation in the morning. J is for judgment. Deepak.
And I was like, I'm the most steady person.
I go, oh wow, I'm going to have to stay silent today.
I think I just judged nonstop. I love all of you.
No, but you don't think you do.
Maybe, I think.
Yeah, but you don't think you do. Like I considered myself, I mean, I say stuff, but I don't like take it to my grave and like think about it. Like if I say something to someone in the gym, I don't like judge them for life, right? I don't care. I think people... People are the reason why we have life. Like, real life is the reason why we have life, but it's very important, you're right. It doesn't mean it has to be right or wrong. It just is there, and it's important to notice. So good, I like that. I'll write that down. Next that I wrote down, how to set and achieve goals. First one, meditate on them. Any other ones?
Write them down.
Yep, exactly. Brainstorm, write, read. Sometimes reading really helps people. Sometimes writing is a thing that helps people. Obviously, you like to write. Brainstorming, whether that's writing or just thinking and meditating, right? Brainstorming, taking the time to do those things, to write it out, like I was talking about for Chrissy. She needs to write down, what is expected of me? What is going to change? What are the pros and cons? Things like that, right? At some point, that has to come out of your head and be somewhere. Another way to set and achieve your goals was one of the things I said that influenced me over 2017. Set and achieve. Purge people, space, and things. Negativity. If you don't get that around, I told you, it doesn't matter what goal you set. You're not going to achieve it. If you set a goal to have a different nutrition life this year, I challenge you to take a picture of your kitchen for me today and send it. Take a picture of your fridge and send it. That we can set up a meeting and I can help you get through that stuff too. I would go over and do that, you know? But that's really important, is purging. Purging the negative people too, because what if you set this goal and your top 5 people you spend time with are pulling you away from this goal? I'm trying to think of an example, but
I can.
what?
Health-wise, if you are hanging out with people that are like always drinking, always eating crappy food, you know, obviously they're gonna pull you. Not that I have that, but that would be an example. No, really, just looked right at me. I did. Make bad choices.
It's like, get rid of it. Because this is how I purge. Throw. I'd rather go to the store and rebuy 5 things that I threw out than just pack rat it away. So when it comes to people and stuff, sometimes your mind can be like, no, I can't hang out with you. I'm never going to see you again. And write them a little letter and say, sorry, but I'm trying to lose 3% body fat this year. I cannot hang out with you anymore. Right? But just bringing it to your conscious of knowing who these 5 people are that you spend most time with is going to help you make a couple more decisions, you know? Maybe it's not a yes every single time that person's asked to hang out. Or maybe you put a little spin on it and say, be the proactive one, right? You know that person's going to drag you down, so maybe you're the proactive one. You make dinner and have them come over and invite them, and before they can sabotage your day, right? So that's a way to think about it. You don't need to eliminate these people unless they're really negative people that are just absolutely destroying your life. You don't necessarily need to get rid of them, but you need to curb that and you need to be conscious of it. And maybe you can switch these 5 people. You don't have to just get rid of them, but maybe there's somebody else that you really need to spend a little bit more time with because they will boost you up a little bit. Maybe it's a mentor, maybe it's another friend you haven't been spending as much time with, a family member, and they automatically come in and take up more of your time than that last person did before. That happens. I've seen that happen naturally with people here. You know, I see you guys all the time. I see what happens. I see friends that we have. I see relationships that we have. Some get stronger, some go weaker. Not good or bad, not right or wrong. It's just what happens. And when you start to purge the negativity, what's supposed to happen and what is right for your life naturally starts to happen. And you notice yourself throwing things out left and right. You don't even have to think about it. So yes, purging. So how to set and achieve goals. Meditate on what you want. Brainstorm, read or write. And purge. Good? See it, gotta feel it, gotta see it, gotta feel it. The secret. Write it down. That's what we're gonna be doing more of, writing it down, okay? Planning and taking action. So get the big thing written down, plan it out, and see it. And that's why you guys are gonna end up laminating at least one of these pages, if not all of it. Put it in a binder just like this and open it up every once in a while. If you did the goals workshops the past few years, my challenge to you is actually do this binder in the annual roadmap this year. If this is your first year, my challenge to you is to just list or find your one word or your theme for the year, and maybe that's what you try to put somewhere in your wallet, in your purse, in your car, on your mirror, on your bedpost. Try that. Start off small, right? That's how we're successful. We start small and we go big. If you write that one word and that theme down and you're feeling excited about that, then next year you're going to want to do more because you know you can. All right, so start small. All right, we're going to take 10 forms of wealth you guys are probably familiar with. Now we're going to talk about the different areas of your life so we can really try to break down and help you figure out what your goal is. We talked about how to set goals, why we do, why we don't, all these fun things. Now we're going to move into trying to help you set them, okay? I want you to try to be able to leave with at least your big, hairy, audacious goal for 2018, maybe your word, your theme, maybe something pops up to you that you want to work on for the rest of the year. So this is how we're going to start. In this packet I gave you, don't be overwhelmed. This packet is for you to take home. Remember I said this is called your annual roadmap, so you can answer as many of these and go as deep as you want. If you want this computer format so that you can do it, print it, like I like to. I don't like to write down. I like to print them out. See the red right there? Different color. Laminate them that way. It looks a lot nicer than my handwriting. I can send that to you. Just email me, okay? So, we are going to go toward the back of the packet to the 10 forms of wealth. Hopefully, you guys have it because I don't. Here we are, 10 forms of wealth. You guys got it? All right. First one, spiritual inner self. What you're going to be doing is grading yourself from 1 to 10. Nobody here is perfect, so you better not have a 10 anywhere on your chart. If you have a 10, then you should be standing where I am and teaching me something. I'll switch spots with you. Okay? So, 10 means you're perfect. 1 means non-existent. And then go up the ladder from there. Okay. Spiritual inner self. This is the meditation time. This is the time that you take to be in silence or be in present moment or try to find yourself, where you read, write, meditate, reflect. If you are spiritual, this could be going to church. What else do we do spiritually? Anybody else have anything? Meditate, yep. Yep. Come in on Thursdays. There you go. All right. So grade yourself. How good do you think you do between 1 to 10?
Daily or weekly or monthly? Or
This is in your life, in your life in general. So this is grading, we're looking at your life right now as you know it, and we're grading all the different areas. So you can look at it across the board. You can look at right now, where do you stand? Physical health, number 2. Physically, where do you stand? How strong is your mind? Do you have a positive mindset? Is it a negative mindset? Be honest with yourself about that one. Hit hard with people? Oh, I'm not even there yet. Family? Yes, that's a good question. It's how do you feel about these areas? Just because you spend a lot of time with your family doesn't mean it's a positive thing, right? Remember our inner circle? Doesn't have to be positive. You need to notice when you ask yourself about this, what happens? Negative or positive immediately? What's the emotion you feel right away? You want to dig into your emotions when we're starting to set goals and think about stuff. What's the emotion you feel when I say family? Why don't you start grading it on that instead of the amount of time you're spending on it? Your career. Financially, how do you feel you stand? Circle of Genius, I would talk about this as the top 5 people that you spend the most time with. Okay, Circle of Genius, that's the goal. Circle of Genius would be 5 people that really push you to be your best you. A genius is perfect. We're always striving to be somewhat close to that. We know nothing is, but that's the top 5 people that you are currently spending the most amount. Okay, then you have adventure. This is the adventurous side of you, doing what you want to do, hobbies, vacations, relaxing, working out, if you enjoy it. I think we all know what that is. Do you give love? Do you get love? Do you feel loved? The impact you provide to other people. Do you volunteer? Do you spend time helping people get better? What's your purpose in life? If you know what that is, are you living that? Is it impacting others? Then, when you get all of them, we're going to connect. I like to do round. You can do with a ruler and go as straight as you want for those engineers out there. And now what you'll see,
You want them straight or you don't want them straight?
don't care. That's up to your discretion. But what it's going to do is point out to you your lulls, your highs and your lows, okay? So this is my lowest one, financial. That's where I need to spend the most time right now. That's got to change because it's my lowest one. So the simple way to use this activity, simple, keep it simple, is to just do the one that you're lowest at. The ultimate way to do this activity is in each category, talk about it to yourself. So you asked about your family. What does that mean to you, right? So every time I do this 10 forms of wealth, I fill out the circle. But then in my binder here, I have all of my old 10 forms. Let's see if this one's... 3 things, goals written down in each of them. Sometimes I just make a note. Physical health, whatever year this was. Work out regularly, but no challenge or goal. I'm just talking about out loud and breaking it down to myself. My physical health was probably pretty good because I was working out, but I had no challenge. There was no interest. It wasn't fun. And I remember that when I did this. So on the back, what I would do is maybe write 1, 2, 3 small attainable goals that you can do in that category. Okay? If doing that for 10 categories is too much for you and it's just going to drive you crazy, just pick your lowest one. That's what I was saying about the simplicity of this, okay? So for me, if I really needed to focus and setting up 10 to 20 to 30 things for me to do is too much, I would just go here. Once I do that, I would redo the wheel, see what my lowest one is, and go there. You need to know that this is never going to be perfect. You're never going to have a bullseye here. So you can do this as often as you want. I suggest once a month. The other way to do it is if you complete that goal that you set yourself, or those small ones for the financial category for me, then I'm going to redo my wheel. If that takes me 90 days to hit, that takes me 90 days to hit. If you've lost your energy and you're not working on this goal anymore, do the wheel again and see where you are and try to pick something else. It's a very useful tool to point out to you because when you're living in it, you can't see. Other people can see from the outside in, but you can't. You're blind now. So if you do this, it's all good. It's very black and white.
You added 2 of them since the last time.
8 forms of wealth. Told you, this was improved. I'm very glad that you noticed this. Good thing we pointed them out. Which ones, love?
And mindset.
Good thing we put those on there.
So you'd be damn near perfect there.
See, I had to step it up a notch for you, Deb.
I know, what the heck?
You would have walked down and been like, I don't need to work on any of this. I got a bullseye. But yeah, so don't be afraid to write down some stuff in each of these categories. Even you can use this chart. You can flip it over. Sometimes I flip it over. I like to do a lot of wake up 5 minutes earlier to look at this. It's nice. I'm sure that happened since it's on the back of the page.
I'm surprised though, I'm wondering if I was too high on the chart, considering all these things, looking at yours.
Oh, don't grade yourself based on me, please.
Physical health, 8? I mean, why aren't you higher than an 8?
I am. Oh, I'm at an 8. Oh, because I thought you were saying you. Because 10 is perfect, and I'm not perfect. There's always room for more,
Right, yep.
and I can work harder. Can do something.
But your mindset, I mean, all of those to me,
Mindset for me. So mindset. These are what they mean for me. Maybe that'll help you guys kind of dig deep. I like this. All right. So we'll start top one. Inner. I meditate on Thursdays. I don't do it as often as I want to. It was either this year or the year before. I'd have to, maybe the year before. I told myself every time I work out, I'm going to spend 5 minutes immediately after my workout and meditate. And I did that for half the year, and I loved it. But let's be real. Sometimes you only have 15 minutes to work out. So I'm not going to do 10 of this and 5 of that. That's the way my mind worked. I just wouldn't do either one. So aside from Thursdays, my gratitude is great in the morning. I'm really happy about that. But I feel like I'm only like halfway there with my inner self. I know I can do more. I don't know what it is, you know. I just feel like there's a piece of my spirituality that I haven't even figured out yet. I just think there's a way that I can go deeper and be more reflective with myself and put myself in more silent positions than I do. And it's something I don't like to do. Like the thought of every electronic, and I'm not an electronic person, but think about that. TV, radio, the music in the background here, lights, for more than 5 minutes every single day, like really freaks me out. I don't know what I would do. You know, your phone, you're constantly on your email. So to put yourself away, you have an experience that you have to do that you can talk about if you want. But that, I have anxiety when she talks about this.
So I have to do a 24-hour vision quest before, like in order to graduate from my Reiki Master program. So 24 hours, complete solitude, no phone, TV, books, music.
That's awesome.
And then you have to set your alarm to at least journal every 4 hours. I'll probably do it every 2. And you need to have your food prepped so you don't have to like do any type of chores and you just.
So it's 24 hours straight?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
In your
sister
house?
did, yeah. My sister
Most
did it
people will
10
go
days.
somewhere. Like I'm gonna go somewhere because I'll be too distracted in my house. So just.
My sister did that for 10 days
Oh my
in a
God.
monastery.
Yeah, you know what? If you put, I think I'd have to submerge myself to a place where other people are doing it, where we can look at each other and be like, you know what I mean? You can share your emotions, but I just couldn't imagine in my house.
Oh, no.
No, that's,
Yeah.
My dog would lick my face and it'd be like,
I would have to go to a monastery, seriously. I think I'd have to pay for that, pay for like a, can I spend a day here? Because I just feel like there's a part of my inner self that I haven't figured out. So I just feel like this is incomplete in general in my life. So I went right to a 5. What I do is great. I do it every day, but I don't feel like that's it yet. Physical, I do work out regularly, eat well regularly for the most part, except the last 2 weeks. And I just think that I don't set goals for myself. So this year what I've done is Zach will be training me regularly, at least once or twice a month. The 3 coaches will be doing a workout together once a month, and we'll also be coaching a workout together once a month. So that will go up, but there's still space because I know those things haven't started yet, and I have to make sure that they happen. Mindset. I have a positive mindset. I can work on this a lot more though. You know, I help other people, which in turn helps me, but like I'm craving to get my 2018 annual roadmap done. For me, that's something that I love to do, but it's a lot of time. Like I said, I'm only at question number 17 out of like 175 questions, and I haven't even answered all 17 of those. So for me, that's where I kind of feel missing right now, is I haven't done that, which is going to give me a good mindset. Also, practicing a positive mindset every day is important to me. A book that I might read is The 4 Agreements again, just to remind you of 4 things. Does anybody know what those are? Always be good with your word. Don't take anything personal. See? Need to read it. 2 more. Always do your best. And 1 more. So my mindset you can always work on, and this is obviously my favorite thing to work on, so I'm going to be more critical in that department just because I like to do that. Family, a 5. Things are changing, so I know I need to work on the change. You know, my brother and my grandfather just moved to California with my mom and my dad in December, so that's a change because I have to make more of an effort to keep in contact with them. That for me is probably why it's not planned out. You know, I had to make sure that I think about what am I going to do in that department, because you can just avoid it like I normally do in life when things like this happen, and you lose touch. And I don't want that to happen this time. Professional and career is lower for me because I haven't really been to like a seminar or a conference with like-minded people in a while. The last time I did was over about a year ago for a mentorship. I think looking back, maybe I probably graded myself too harsh on that one because I do have a monthly call with a coach, a quarterly call with my team, and I do go to the retreats once a year. But I haven't done anything other than that. You know, that's just the norm for me at this point. I haven't signed up for another seminar to like a one-day thing, you know, and I keep saying, oh, it's money, it's money, it's money. It's like $119 to do something to make myself better for 6 or 7 hours, and I haven't done that. So that's what that one's about. Money, the lowest. I have a negative connotation. I just got off the phone with my mentor about this the other day. I just have a negative relationship with money ever since the beginning. You know, I come from a family that didn't have a lot of money. That's fine. A lot of people have, right? No, like, feel bad for me, but that's the situation. So naturally you don't like, you just don't even really know what it is. So how do you really have affinity to it? And then when you figure out what it is, it's because you owe it to somebody. It doesn't really feel good. You just don't like it. And I haven't really gotten past that point in my life yet. So that's a negative connotation for myself. So I'm always really hard about it. Saving is not going the way that I want it to. But somehow I have the money to do things I want whenever I want to. So that's probably because I'm grateful every day. So we'll see. I don't know, that definitely needs to be beefed up as far as savings and spending properly go. But when you're afraid of it, you don't look through the sources that you should and talk to the people because you're afraid of them knowing your situation. And so you don't go talk to advisors and people that know about it. So that's kind of where I am, and that's not good. Got to change that. And I think the first thing that'll change, which I agree, my mentor said the other day, is your mindset about money needs to change. And then how it comes to you is going to change. So if I can change my mind and feel positive about money, I'm going to start to see more of it. Saving will be easier. Talking to people about it will be easier. So that was a therapeutic session right there. Top 5 is going, it's pretty good. I think I've purged most of the negativity I need to. What I want to do in this area is get other people who are going to boost me a little bit higher, who can teach me something. That's more what I'm looking for now. The past 2 years was getting rid of the negative tension, and then going forward I have to gather people that will make me better, challenge me. Adventure, I'm usually pretty good at this. I could have probably put it a little bit higher. I have a trip coming up this week, but I don't have a hobby. That's my big thing, and that's why I stick at a 5 every time I go this, and you know what? That stupid thing never changes. The only time it goes higher is if I'm on vacation when I'm filling this out. But I don't really have a hobby. People ask me, what do you like to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Do you guys have anything you'd think that I'd like to do? Do you know things of me that I don't know?
Playing killer basketball.
I like to ride. Yeah?
Not like me, but
No, I don't love it all year.
We need to get you into the outdoor activities.
No,
Time to find the right
that is not going to make me adventurous. That will make me over here.
one new adventure per month.
Yeah, I could. Got to figure out what that is. That was a goal of mine before, and then I lost interest, and I just couldn't figure out what it was. I have no idea. That's what I'm working on. So if you have any ideas, I'm open to them. Love. I feel very loved. I do. And I feel like I give a lot of love every day. I try, and my yelling is loving. So that's pretty self-explanatory. I don't really feel, I feel great in that category right now. Impact. I feel like I can always be doing more. Being here makes me feel great, so I'm over the halfway hump. I definitely feel like I can give back as far as that goes, but I don't volunteer. I think that's pathetic. You know, I've come up with all these ideas of how I can get into certain programs and do this and that. My biggest reason that I haven't is because I don't know what I would enjoy doing most. So I would love to volunteer at like a soup kitchen or this or that, and I'm like, what would be the best match for me? So I get stuck in the mud. Paralysis by analysis. You think about all these other options that you could have, all those charities that are out there that you could work for, and you're like, I have no clue which one I'd like the most, instead of just doing something. So that's my big thing. But it's also because I know if I put my time into working in those volunteerships, making something happen through Fitted In as far as making impact goes would be impacted. So I either need to make the decision to do something via here like I want to, or get out and go do something else. And I have about 10 ideas written down for this place. I just don't do them.
You have to combine both. Yeah. Integrate.
I'm glad she's here. That was great. That was an aha moment.
And don't forget, you do the, you know, like when we do the Sunday workout, and you do that for charity.
Yep.
And that's making an impact.
Mm-hmm. And maybe what I need to do is make a greater impact. Like stop, you know, a lot of times in my life I feel like that's the mode, right? Like this professional's career thing. Like, yeah, I'm involved in things. It's just the norm. And I think I like to boost it up a little bit more. So you're right. Thanks for pointing those out. And that was it, right? Back to the inner. Anybody have anything they want to talk about or share or ask me? And I think I actually have that one. Okay, there's a front and back to this one, 90 Day Wonder. The front should say October to now. List everything you can think of that you've accomplished over the last 90 days. Small, large, doesn't matter what category of your life, but start listing. You're going to start writing. I'm going to give you a couple minutes. Just a quick little check-in. From there, you can choose your top 10 or your top 1 from what you want to accomplish between now and March, and set your goals. Small attainable goals, right? So you can either pick top 10 or pick 1 if that's too overwhelming for you. When you first start doing this, 10's a big number. As you get better at this, you're going to want to try to increase because you know you can. All right? Everybody understand that? Anybody any questions or anything they want to share from it? Any big victories over the past 3 months? I'm going to give you a few minutes to go through. In here, there's a lot of activities. We have your big 5 for the year. We have your BHAG for 2018. So you have your word or your theme. If any of that has come to you over the time that we've been together, feel free to fill those out now. If not, just see what bites at you. Look around, see what sticks out to you, and you can start answering those. I want you to know, though, in the back I have a sheet that says Big 5 2018, Big Hairy Audacious Goal for 2018, and your reward if you actually hit it.
Put that right on the fridge.
And Big 5 for life. Your Big 5 for life, okay? Big 5 is something I like to talk about a little bit, so before you get started on your questions, I'm just going to quickly go into it. Who here has not heard of the Big 5?
I'm confused with the difference between the life and
This year?
the year.
So the Big 5 are the things that you need to accomplish to feel successful. When you date it, it's by that amount of time. So your Big 5 for 2018 are 5 things. At the end, if we were sitting here on December 31st of 2018, if you completed just those 5 things, you'd feel successful. For your life, these are things that are non-negotiables, things that you want to get done before you die. So those are kind of tough questions. That's hard. It's really hard. It's hard to nail down just 5. But if you can't get 5, what makes you think you were going to accomplish 10 anyway? Right? So those are just dreams. So your big, hairy, audacious goal would be the one out of those that you want to hit for this year. So again, it's just easier to wrap your brain around one thing than it is a lot. But setting big 5s helps you really think about the things that you need and want to accomplish for the year. I forgot to print mine out, but I had a bunch of things.
How does your one word tie to this? Do you find that your one word applies to all your big 5s?
No. Well,
Really?
I mean, I guess subconsciously. I didn't pick my one word and then make my big 5, though. My one word came to me after my big 5.
Were they kind of loosely connected or with all 5 or?
Were all 5 of those connected to each other?
Well, to the word. So did the word have meaning with your goals?
My word is more because
You know what I mean?
my word is more because it came to me and it excites me. So it says that I'm going to get more. I want to give more. I can be more. I can do more. I can open this circle to more. I can change this to more positivity. It really encompasses everything I want to do in my life. I want more of, right? I need more of everything right now. I need more money. I need more of this, more of that, right? So it drives me to go get what I need more of, and it also tells me that if I give more, I will get more. So it reminds me of my other words. So my one word and theme actually they didn't do anything toward my big 5. But big 5 is, if you accomplish them, you're getting something out of that, right? So overall, they do relate by default, but your word might not.
Yeah.
And I don't like to connect the two, because you could be leaving out something,
Yeah.
right? If you just,
I'm finding that it's naturally connecting though.
that's good then. What's your word or your theme?
Well, I'm not going to change my word till May, but I think it's going to be awareness. Because I find in all the areas where I'm low, I have to just, like the money, very much in line with you. It's embarrassing to say that you owe X amount of money, right? But I need to educate myself on how to fix that. So just becoming aware and accepting it and then going to get help for it.
Yep.
The other categories are the same. So that's when I'm finding it's all kind of connected.
Yep. And you don't have to wait till May to change your word if you feel like it's going to drive you more.
Yeah,
And when May comes, if you want to change it again,
yeah, true.
you can. The point of your word and your theme is to drive you and give you motivation
Yeah,
to do what you set out to do.
Yeah.
And if it's not doing that, then it needs to change.
Yeah.
You know? So go with your gut and what was your word again? Simplify?
it is right now.
Yeah. If that's not helping you anymore, you need to get rid of it.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's kind of connected loosely too, but, all right.
But going through that process of making yourself choose is really important.
It is, yeah.
You know, because people are like, oh, I had 3 or 4 words I wanted to use. I'm like, come on, why can't I just use them all? Like, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. You had to pick one.
Yeah, that's what's happening right now.
So yeah, you guys can go through your packet for a couple minutes. If you have a BHAG, Big Five for life, start writing those down. Does anybody have their BHAG or their Big Five that they want to share? Nobody. Nobody has them or nobody wants to share. It's okay either way.
I have some. I'm gonna do some. Okay, I'm gonna have a healthier weight. I didn't put a weight, so I know that's not a very good goal, but I have it in my head what it should be. And I know you don't like that because it should be like percent, blah, blah, blah. So I need to like figure out what that would be in percent. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
And just remember,
Which means I probably should have you do my numbers.
okay, there you go. You're getting to the end of it.
I got that, but that's part of the process.
This was all about brainstorming.
Yeah, I know. So I'm gonna do that whole thing. Be an administrator, plan a trip with my family so far.
Awesome.
And my word is becoming.
Ooh, that's a good one.
This is what it is. And I thought about this a lot since you've been getting on me a lot.
Getting on you a lot, as I
Yeah,
said.
you did. Since like Thursday, it was annoying, but I got it. It took me a while. Healthier, becoming a better sleeper, becoming more productive, more organized. The big one's gonna be less sensitive. Oops, that's not gonna be easy. I don't know how to fix that, so figure it out.
I think not focusing on,
Everyone else's feeling.
nope, not focusing on not being sensitive, but focusing on being proactive in another category of what you do want or what you should be doing. So what is the word you think you should be?
No, becoming, I think, is my word, but I think.
Right, so what should you be becoming? Instead of saying, I want to be less sensitive.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'd have to look at that.
Because I don't think it's bad to be sensitive. You know what I mean?
I'm really sensitive.
That's okay.
Like, I can talk to people and start crying for no reason.
That's okay.
No, that's not good.
Some people don't even have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. You should make it a
Like, sometimes when I talk to my students, I get teary-eyed.
Maybe,
I'm like, I don't know! You can do this!
do you not like that about yourself?
Sometimes it's a little embarrassing in my life. Especially if I'm in like an authority role. Like, I shouldn't get teary-eyed.
No. I think leading and showing that it's okay to be emotional is important.
I think there's a moment. I gotta still work on it. I can get better at it.
Let that word come to you. But I would,
I don't feel like I'm gonna change by much. I'm 43 years old. I'm not gonna be like
It's-
stone cold at this point.
Don't
but-
you think it might be hormonal?
Yeah. And-
Seriously?
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Don't you think it could be hormonal?
Probably. I mean, I have the thyroid issue, obviously.
okay,
But I've always been a crier, so it's.
your problems are going to be answered
I know.
when your nutrition changes.
I know.
That's it.
Yep.
Those hormones will start to line up better if we change our eating,
Yep.
and we'll cry less, I guess,
Okay.
or you'll be okay with it. But becoming stronger or becoming healthier, like you said, follow those most important ones. Don't focus on what you don't want to be. Put the reverse and focus on what you do want to be. That's how you fix something. Anybody else want to share? Meg, you said you did?
Yeah, I want to start a blog. Someone recently asked me, oh, if you could do anything, be anything you want, what do you want to be? I'm like a writer. Like, why don't you just write? I just haven't started. I just need to start writing.
That is a good one.
Do it.
I'm doing it.
Just do it, like Gina says. Gina, you got anything you want to share with us? Remember, this is supposed to be your yin-yang day. Oh, we'll change her one of these days, guys. Just you wait. We're going to have champagne flying everywhere when she speaks.
Not that I don't have anything in mind, I just don't.
Okay. Anybody?
I'm gonna pack my lunch
I like it.
because that's like the one meal that I'll either skip and then around 3 o'clock I'm like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna focus on meal prepping my lunch.
Awesome. So now what we have to do, but it sounds to me like what'll be good for you and everybody else is going to benefit from, look at the back side of one of those notebook pages.
I love that. Is there another prize?
Big Five. So Big Five is something that I do every week. It's amazing. I almost did it every single week this year. I missed a couple weeks toward the end of the year just because I knew exactly what I needed to do. It's not an excuse not to write it down, but I was focused from making it a habit. Yeah, I have a journal, like a scheduled thing, and it's a specific one that actually has a Big Five listed in it. And every week you write at the beginning of the week. When you do them, you check them off. Perhaps we'll see you.
Come see me at 110.
Perhaps we will. She'll be at 110 Grill serving if anybody wants to visit Deb today. Right down the street. Okay, so Big 5 is great. You write down the 5 things you need to accomplish by the end of the week in order to be successful. So when the week ends, you can say, I feel successful, and all you had to do was get those 5 things. What it does is for people with anxiety that get overwhelmed by the week and everything that's coming down at them, it allows them to focus so you don't get overwhelmed. For the people who don't have drive and live day to day, it allows you to have something to work toward. So it works in both directions, okay? And you have to fit one of those categories unless you're already doing the Big 5. So you either make monster to-do lists that get longer and longer by the second as the week goes on, or you don't make a list at all and you just hope you're productive by the end of the week. So you can change that by making this Big 5. And you know what? If 5 seems like a small number compared to what you're used to doing, if you complete 5 things, you will naturally start to do other things, but you won't need them written down. And you'll be more productive because you started to put focus in somewhere. And if you're someone where that's like a crazy number, oh my gosh, I actually have to write down 5 things I'm going to accomplish this week, just keep trying it. Because the first few months, it's going to be 1 or 2 things that you're accomplishing. And that's okay. Remember, these small things are victories. And you're going to start to feel successful. And then that 1 week where you do all 5 things, you're going to be hooked. And you're going to start doing this every single week, and you'll be productive. It's just like my gratitude habit. Now it doesn't matter whose car I'm getting in or what I'm doing, I'm always thinking things that I'm grateful for while I'm driving in the car. That was an awesome thing to start. My Big 5, I did it every single week for more than half the year. I just do it in my mind now. Or I start to find myself writing it down on a different piece of paper if it's not in that book, and I'm still getting 5 things done. So you guys can use that one too. 90-Day Wonder, 10 Forms of Wealth, Big 5. Okay? Anybody have anything they want to share before I finish up? Okay, you can go. It's okay. If you guys have to leave, I totally understand. Thank you for coming. Should have said that to Deb too. Thanks to everybody. We're going to finish up in the next few minutes. If you want to stay after and chat with me about anything, feel free. First thing, the thought, trade good for great. Remember I said I'd get to that at the very end? Is that kind of like, what? How do you trade good for great?
Sharon just said, like that extra 1 to 3.
Yep.
Why settle for good when you can really be great?
Right? Or, your life might be going good right now, but it could be going great. And there might be things that are good, so you don't recognize them as negative, that you need to get rid of, but you could trade it for something even better. Like if you have a lease right now on a car, but you don't own it, you have a lease, right? You can trade it in for the next best thing. Why wouldn't you? You're going from good to great, right? You could do the same thing in your life. There are things that are going really good, right? Like when I think about Fit In, because I usually do this stuff business and personal, Big 5 and business, both sides. So for Fit In, there could be something that, it's going good. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's how our brain works about a lot of things. But if I were to tweak it just a little bit, it might even be 100 times better and make me more successful. So just wanted to leave you with that thought. Even if you're feeling good right here, life is good, I'm so glad I came today, no big deal. Just challenge yourself to think about something that's going really good in your life that could be even better. At the bottom of your last page, there's books that I suggested, so you guys have those there. I know I mentioned them all today. You probably took notes and wrote them down if you were interested, but you do have them by title and author there. I like reading suggestions. Thank you very much for coming. I love doing this stuff, and if you ever need help outside of this and you didn't want to talk openly, I'm here for that, and I'm proud of you for coming, even if you didn't share or don't want to or not comfortable. It was very nice to see a couple of familiar faces show up to our goal seminar. Thank you. And that's about it. If everybody's good, then enjoy your 2018 and let's make it successful. Make it your best year yet.